Hello, my love, and welcome back. Today we're going to be diving into self-image and confidence and learning how to love your body, your appearance, your physical vessel that you have incarnated into. So this is related to a really powerful quantum healing hypnosis that I have just uploaded. I will get into more of that after, but I want to start with sharing a little bit of my own story and why this work is so important and how it has absolutely changed my life. Because I used to have so many insecurities, so much really deeply rooted self-judgment and self-criticism, to the point where I really didn't like anything about myself, and I would look in the mirror and all I would see were my flaws. All I would see was the breakouts or the ways my teeth weren't perfect or what I thought was weirdness about my body or the things that I didn't like about it because of pressures, because of the media, because of all the things we're constantly told about who we need to be. So what I didn't realize at the time, and where you might be at right now, if you're watching this and you can relate and you're wanting to improve your body confidence, your self-love, what you might be sitting in is the place I was in there, where I had no idea how it was actually rippling out into my entire life. So I thought, this is who I am, this is how I see myself, but I didn't even realize the way that my lack of confidence affected how I showed up in the world. So when I'd walk into a room, instead of feeling confident and special or happy in who I was and like I belonged there, because I was seeing my skin or because I was focused on my perception of myself, I actually walked into the room shrinking, shrugging, collapsing, getting smaller, and hoping that I would draw no attention. And if I'd have conversations with people, and this could be with strangers, this could even be with closest friends, where I remember just like in the middle of the conversation, my self-talk was that, oh my gosh, they're looking at my breakouts, they're disgusted by me, or if people, didn't hang out long, or I felt like, we didn't have the greatest interaction, I believed it was because of how I looked and the fact that they wouldn't want to be seen by me, or all of these different stories. So where this comes back to, and what I want to touch on just briefly here in this today, is that this self-image is truly just a picture, right? It's like a snapshot of a moment in time. So for me, and I remember sharing about this on a really short video one time, but I can trace my most deeply rooted insecurities back to those puberty years where everything just seemed to be awkward and going wrong at the same time, right? I remember having horrible skin, and none of my friends had any breakouts really. So I felt like I stood out from all of them. There were so many different pieces that made up this little snapshot, right? And the brain holds on to that. So that would mean that even when I hit high school, or when I was in university, or until I started doing the self-image work, quite honestly, I was walking through the world with this snapshot of 14 or 15-year-old Kara. So that meant that every interaction I had, I was seeing myself as that version of me. I was holding those beliefs, those negative self-judgments, and that self-talk, those insecurities, right? So you can imagine that when you're wanting to create confidence and you want to be able to show up feeling in love with who you are, we have to fix that snapshot. It's very much less about suddenly having all these different physical features, because this is a perfect example. Even when my skin got more clear, I still saw myself as someone with really bad acne. And my brain at that point had literally been programmed to focus on breakouts or bad skin because I'd spent years focusing on that. So even when my skin was more clear, oh, something in my eye, it's my bangs. Even when my skin was more clear, I would look in the mirror and maybe it wasn't like as bad as it had been years before, but my brain and my eyes, like every part of me was still designed to basically like zone in, and I would still find the flaws with my pores or breakouts or how it wasn't perfect. So it's really interesting because the stories you're telling yourself and the insecurities you have right now are probably not how other people see you. Maybe sometimes, and like I'm not going to say that when I have a big breakout that people don't notice it, right? But in terms of like the amount of energy and focus and attention and negativity and judgment, probably those people aren't putting nearly as much on it as you are. Just like clients I've worked with who are struggling with their weight, and to them, because that's their biggest priority and it's the biggest insecurity and the biggest thing they want to shift right now, they're putting so much focus, attention, and energy into it, so they believe everyone else is as well. Whereas I'm talking to them and I don't really notice it. Or a family or a friend could be talking to them and they're not thinking anything about the appearance. But this person's mental story and self-image is just that snapshot. So it's very focused. And this is why the deep reprogramming work can be so, so powerful. Because obviously, like I said, if you're wanting to feel more confident, if you're wanting to create a loving relationship to yourself and your body and embrace, as I see it, this beautiful temple that your soul gets to live in, that, you know, none of us were really taught how to love it. Probably very few watching this were role modeled that by your parents. Healthy confidence or self-talk or self-esteem or taking care of their body, respecting it, treating it like it's special. I think that's become a very lost art in the world. And the more we reconnect to our bodies, the more we can start to bring that like sacredness back of seeing that this is such a beautiful physical vessel, no matter how it looks. It's not about how it looks to be beautiful. It's the fact that your soul gets to live its life through this body. So of course you want to respect it and you want to honor it and you want to feel good in it, right? And that should be just like a basic standard, I think, of wanting to feel good in your body while you're living in it, while you're here on 3D Earth, right? So in order to come back to that place, it requires us to do that deeper reprogramming of clearing out the subconscious stories, the current mental image and snapshot that I've been talking about, the current identity that you see yourself as. Because if you look in the mirror and you associate your reflection with whatever it is, the weight, the acne, any kind of negative judgments, you are continuing to identify with that. And the identification we create for ourselves influences the way we show up in the world. So it influences the way we move and the way we act. And I guarantee the version of you who looks different or feels really confident in themselves or has the body of your dreams, they probably move very confidently. They're not moving the way you currently are. They're not acting, hiding, showing up, judging themselves. They'd be fully embodied, fully expressed. So we're making this big shift from the old self to the desired self and programming in self-love, self-compassion, self-respect along the way. And that's what makes all the difference. So in order to do that, and one of my favorite ways to do that has been with a combination of quantum healing hypnosis, of course, and the mirror work, right? Working with your reflection, learning how to look at yourself in the mirror and start to shift those stories. And it can be as simple as just finding a positive, sometimes, at least when I started, that was really, really challenging. So sometimes it can take more time. But this is the combination that I've created and been pulling from in this Quantum Healing Hypnosis recording that I've just uploaded. And it's going to really, really support you in shifting your self-image, the way you see yourself, so that you can fully start showing up confident and shift those negative stories into loving ones and see that regardless of your appearance, firstly, you are worthy, you are beautiful, you are amazing, you are an incredible soul, you deserve to be loved and respected. And secondly, you can also love the appearance and continue improving or working on your appearance so that you continue enjoying and embracing how you look and how you feel. So it's this combination of, we're not like waiting until someday you have a six-pack and then you think you're good enough, because that's keeping your desire in the future and that's making it very conditional. We want you to feel happy and good enough now. We want you to feel proud of yourself right now, because when you feel proud of yourself, you're going to take different actions, and those actions are actually what's going to help you get to the six-pack or whatever goal it is that you have. That's just what came to mind. But it's not about attaching your happiness to the physical shift. It's about feeling the shift now regardless, just like with any manifestation, right? When we're talking about calling in a specific person or your dream home or whatever the desire is, a new income goal, if you are saying, I'm only going to feel happy or satisfied or worthy when I get that, we've got a problem. And as someone who has made that mistake many times, please realize that you will, if you get that, you're still not going to feel good enough. So what we're doing here and what we're doing inside the activation is allowing you to literally rewire your brain so that you see yourself as good enough, worthy, all the beautiful things now, because you deserve to love yourself and respect yourself on the journey. There is no destination, really. We want to enjoy it now. And also continue shifting that snapshot so you see yourself the way you desire, which does actually, in fact, help with identity shifting and shifting your appearance, starting to notice different attributes or accent different parts of yourself, or make those necessary physical changes to have that. But we want to mostly anchor in that deep respect and self-love and confidence ASAP as you're doing that, okay? So there are two different ways to get your hands on this activation. Both of them are linked down below. Option number one is to just grab the activation by itself. It is $55 and you will get immediate and lifetime access to it. Option number two is to jump inside my monthly membership, where you get a monthly Q&A call with me, you get a monthly breathwork session, you get daily downloads and messages from me, and you get a library of over 20 other powerful quantum healing hypnosis recordings. I am very out of breath today. Speaking of being in shape, talking too much today is like, let's just take a breath. Oh goodness. Okay. There's just summary. There is a lot of incredible stuff inside the membership itself. There's over $3,000 of value in there. A little bit more access to me, as I said, on that Q&A call each month. So if you want to join that and get all of those goodies, then you can also start right here with this activation. So that link is down below for the membership, or get the activation totally by itself. Either way, the membership is $33.33 a month. I forgot to say that in my out of breath windedness. With all of that said, yes, let's start to love the person that we see in the mirror. Let's realize that you are more than the mental image and the story you're telling yourself, because probably just like me, that mental story gets to constantly evolve and just because we had a certain phase or a certain challenge in the past, or just because you're currently struggling with something, does not mean that has to stay there forever. So we really want to pull the focus, pull the emotional charge out of that and start to shift it so that you get to heal and transform from a place of love. And ultimately, that's what will last and that's what will help you long term. So I hope to see you inside either the membership or the activation. And I'm sending you so much love on your journey. Bye now.